Hi everyone, welcome to our session at 3 o'clock on social emotional learning. And glad that you've come to join us on looking at Minecraft education and on Flipgrid. So let's get our session started off. I've got quite a bit to go through, but let's get started. All right, before we begin, I just want to make an acknowledgement of people and countries. So I want to pay my respects to the people of the Kulin Nation and where I stand today. And also I'd like to make acknowledgement of the children who we are actually educating into the future. I would also like to acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people who are participating today. And also acknowledge the Indigenous people who are participants and living and working around the world, who have their journey all around international, and any guests and people who have joined us from overseas. So, and also acknowledgement to you and to your background and history and your culture as well. I'd like to make an acknowledgement of that for today. Couple of quick housekeeping things I just want to let you know. Any questions can be asked for our chat function today, so please get them through if you have any questions throughout the session. All sessions are recorded, so any post if you like to be anonymous, if you don't want to share your name. And recordings of this event will be shared from the Microsoft team after. And if you are having any difficulties with sound, just please close the meeting and join back in and try again. So thanks for that. All right, a little bit about me. So my name's David Jones. I'm a primary and secondary teacher in Melbourne, Australia. I'm part of the MIE experts team this year, and this is my second year. I'm also a Minecraft global mentor, which I participate with other mentors where we support teachers and educators around the world. We also collaborate and share ideas to assist with teaching and getting Minecraft out in the classrooms. I'm also a postgraduate researcher at the moment in STEM education, and I'm co-researching in science and mathematics and how we can integrate them together in primary schools. So you can reach out to me anytime on djoneseducator on Twitter. I'm happy to collaborate, share, chat, any questions, keep in touch. So enough about me, let's get started. But please be aware that this presentation is being recorded. All right, so today's agenda is social emotional learning. It's such a big aspect of our schools, of our education and our classrooms. So let's look at how Flipgrid and Minecraft actually be a part of this, and you can use these tools yourself within the classrooms. So today's agenda I want to share with you is what is Flipgrid and Minecraft Education Edition? How do we access it? What can you do with it as an educator? And I really want to share is, inspire you to get started and to have a go at some of these tools in your classrooms. So going through these tools, I'd like you to think as educators as our social emotional learning is part of our everyday processes in our life, in our school, and keep in the back of your mind thinking about how you can use these tools within your classroom to develop these skills. And I found them quite powerful within the classroom. So it's something to keep in the back of your mind as you are looking at these Microsoft tools, how they actually work in this area, in this realm. All right, the first part is, what is Flipgrid? You might have heard of it, you might have had a go at it, you might have heard people, you might know nothing about it. So this is my agenda today, is what it is. So Flipgrid is a video-based discussion, reflection, and a sharing application. What it is, it's you're able to just sign in with your Microsoft or your Google account works. Students are able to record a video of themselves and share with their class, yourself, community. You're also teachers are able to record a video and share that with their class. You could be giving instructions, messages to the students. And so while we delve into Flipgrid, there's two little bits that I learned when I first used Flipgrid was some of the language. So the first 2 points I really got my head around was two words, were grids and topics. So what these mean is grids are your classroom or your groups. You can create many grids, and your grid is just thinking like, that is my learning group for those students, for your class. So if you had multiple classes, you could have multiple grids. And then within your grids, you have topics. And these are what they sound like. They're prompts, discussion, questions that you can post to your class. All right. So I'm going to share this video, which might get some bit more understanding.
Hot pepper.
That is Flipgrid. So it is a lot to take in on a quick video, but if you search up Flipgrid on their webpage, you can find that video. So the way I see Flipgrid is able to just get some students, get them online using a platform where they're able to video themselves privately, quietly in a spot. They're able to share, reflect, and then they're able to share that back with their class. So let's have a look. So with Flipgrid, it's pretty straightforward to access. It goes a lot in that video, but I found the first time I used Flipgrid, it just seamlessly worked. It was really straightforward to get into it. I signed into Flipgrid, went in there to flipgrid.com. I signed in with my Microsoft email and I just created a grid. It was my year 4 class. I called it my class 4J for Jones. And then from that, I created a topic. And my first topic was introduce yourself. Who are you? And tell me something about you. And that was my question. And then the students were given the web link and even a QR code, as you can see here. And it goes on and it opens up just like your camera, but you can also add things and you can actually share. You've got a whiteboard in there. There's lots of different actions you can actually add. And it was great. I had students who were the shyer students, who the voice doesn't come through often in the classroom, go on this and really excel in it and really was able to talk and share and discuss who they were. And so it was a really great way just to start of the year, introduce something. So today I thought, let's be students, let's have a go. So if you've got your phone handy with you, you can scan this QR code right here. And I've created a public grid for us. So you can either scan it or on your web browser, you could be typing in the web link just below it. All right. And you can actually have a go today of introducing yourself on Flipgrid. You can add some effects, get creative. All right. And you'll see on there, I've done one earlier today to do as an example, but just to be mindful, there is a public grid I've set up. So other people who have this link today or attendees, they're able to actually go in and see your videos as well. So just something to be aware of for yourself. So if I leave that there for a minute, just to let you have a go on Flipgrid and have a go yourself. And as you know, as educators, the best way to test something out is be the student yourself, how seamlessly things can be, what things can come up and what questions you have. So I really love to see some people add themselves on there. So give it a scan or go into your web browser, type in flipgrid.com/4F9D70CF and you'll find my public grid that I've created. So that's a public one. With your school, you will be making it if you're students, you're making a private, and you can actually just add in what type of email address can be used as well. So it is private. It also has authentication with your Microsoft. Your students would have your Microsoft or your Google emails to log in. So it does have the privacy features in there for your students. So I'll leave that there for a second for you to join. And I'd love to see some of you people who are attending to introduce yourself and even having a look at each other's. There's some great actual effects in there. Gets kids really engaged. And I'm going to have a go and share with you some of what these things are. So what type of things you can actually do with Flipgrid. All right, give another 30 seconds and I'll move on to the next slide. Now, this is always a big question that teachers ask. What can I actually do with this? How far can I go? And what actually, is this tool useful for me? And I always start talking about, let's put it in a student perspective and see, well, what can they do with it? It's not about us, it's about our students, and how can we actually assist our students' voice, their agency? How can we support those students who sometimes get lost in our classroom? And, they're those students who reluctantly put their hand up. They're the ones who find it difficult to speak in the class and share their learning and share their understanding. And this is where Flipgrid can really help those kids. And I found students who are shy in their sharings and aren't confident with sharing their learning really, really open in Flipgrid. And these are some of the possibilities that I've got. They are endless, I feel, sometimes with Flipgrid, and I keep learning every day different ways that we can use this as a tool. And the first thing I see is that it's great for reflections. Asking a question to students: what were the challenges? What did they learn? And as simple as that, and then sharing their voice. And then another one is teacher-led instruction. You can go the other way. You can create a video to share. So you can actually create an instructional video, share it with your class. They can do it as home learning, out of hours, in class. They can go back and re-watch it. So it's a great way to do a flipped learning model. Assessments. We want our students to become a voice in the classroom, to stand up, present, share. And this is a great way they can do it online, and you actually have it recorded, and you can actually even give feedback. So we can use it as a great assessment tool as well. There's a stop motion sequence you're able to do in there. So a bit like stop motion shows and making a stop motion movie. It's one of the features. Done many literacy tasks, students reading to you and reading their own text. So they might have written a story that you want them to share. They're able to read it to you, and you can actually go back and watch and listen. Portfolios, students sharing their learning as a portfolio is another great tool with it. We've also done student TED Talks, and they've become the presenter and they've become the voice, and they've created a TED Talk that we've shared within the classroom, but also with our families as well. And that was another great feature and feedback we've had from parents, where we've created this whole class session of TED Talks. And remotely, parents, especially in Melbourne, with us being locked down for so long, we created TED Talks, and parents could come in and visit and share and see what the class has been doing. And it was a great way to have a collaboration and connection with our class community. A couple of things that Flipgrid has is a thing called Discovery, and these are pre-prepared topics for you. So if you want to have a go at it without, they're actually there already prepared. And then there's mixtapes, and these are like whole screen of different videos that you can watch of other people who have done examples and things in there too. So some of the main features, there's pixel mode, there's blackboard and whiteboard that students can work on. There's pictures and stickers to add, so you can add on filters over the top. And a recent great one they've added is screencasting. that you're able to actually, students can cast their screens, so they can actually share presentations within their video. And then they can add text and inking over it as well. So it's a real great way for editing processes and steps. And another way I really like is that you can turn off or on viewing others, and you can also turn off and on giving feedback. So that's another really great way that you can actually give feedback to students written, but also you can record a video. All right, so you can give that video back to your class and give them feedback as a visual aid as well for them. And I find using the Flipgrid, students will go and read their feedback. They will want to watch a video of you giving them feedback. And that's something I've really found a noticeable part of Flipgrid as well. All right, so Flipgrid, it's pretty easy steps to get started. You need to go to flipgrid.com, you sign in, you create your class grid to start off. You create a topic with some questions and prompts. You add pictures in there, and then you send out a link. All right, and you can send that link to your students through a QR code or through a web link. So that is Flipgrid. So just coming back to you. Before we start, I'm just wondering if anyone had any questions on there on Flipgrid.
Just about the login, Dave. Some people, because when you first sign in or first load up the QR code or whatever, you have to sort of create an account.
Yes.
You can sign in with a Office 365 account or a personal Microsoft account or a Google account, right?
Yes. So you can, I've just logged in with my Office 365 details for my school. So for in Melbourne, it's our @education.vic.gov.au is our email address. And then I just log in through my school credentials through that. So.
Yep, that was it. Oh, I think there's a couple of videos on there for you.
Great. Awesome. All right. Let me get back to. All right. So Minecraft Education Edition is where I want to start talking now about this, and this is pretty dear to my heart. I've been using this for now, this will be my 3rd year within Minecraft Education Edition, and I've just seen it grow and grow within the community. I've seen so many different ways of using it creatively that just it just keeps blowing my mind how many teachers have been creative with this product. And there's just such an endless ability with it. But I always start off with Minecraft Education Edition. I always emphasize the words Education Edition. And with Minecraft, there's, schools, parents and children know of Minecraft, but I really emphasize that this is about education. And this is an education edition where we can take those skills that some students might have learned using Minecraft, but how can we use it as an educational tool? So that's where I really want to focus on today. So some of you might have used it or heard of it or know nothing about it. But first I want to start is, what is Minecraft Education Edition? So in real words, it's called a sandbox video game based. So what we mean by sandbox is this is like an open world that is being able to be creative. There are many, many real world mechanics involved. And I guess it's getting past the misconception, because it's a block world. A lot of people get misconceptions that it is sort of that younger game playing. It's just putting blocks together like Lego. But the part I really want to emphasize is that it has so many real world mechanics actually under the hood that you actually at first don't see, and more you use it, you actually start seeing these mechanics that come through. So some examples would be, we're talking about today, is the chemistry elements of it. The others is things like gravity, water flow, physics. There is a lot of chemistry, a lot of mechanicals. There's just a lot of real world mechanics that come through. And so I'll share some of that with you today, but it's pretty heavily detailed, and it's pretty impressive what students can actually find out in Minecraft. So you're able to do single and multiplayer worlds. The students love getting into multiplayer worlds. They are able to collaborate and work together in this world. But there's also single challenges and lessons that you can create for a single lesson of creativity. I find it really highly promotes this creativity in students, and there's a lot to learn with collaboration and problem solving with Minecraft. And it fits in with nearly any curriculum-based activity. You can really, if you really think about it and you look for it, you can put it in there and it works. I've seen from music lessons to coding, to design, to environmental issues, to as simple as just learning fractions today. I was talking to a teacher today who just wanted to learn and show in Minecraft, how can I show a fraction? How can I show 1/3? How can I show 3/4? And we talked about just using coloured bricks versus clear bricks and how you can actually just create a fraction and a model of a fraction as simple in a flat grass world. So it's just endless, absolutely endless, some of the possibilities. So the first thing I want to go through though is the difference, and this is probably my biggest question I get asked, is what's the difference between Minecraft and Minecraft education, and how can we actually show this product is an educational tool? So first part is, this is what these areas I'm showing you now is only in Minecraft education. You can't get it, it's not able in normal Minecraft. So in Minecraft education, you have boards, and these come in different sizes. And you can see this board here, we've used actually in a webinar this week, and we actually introduced our presenters and what we did. And I'll show you some more examples that students can put these boards in and share their learning. They can write and type on boards and actually talk about what the object is in front of you or behind, and actually use it as a tool to explain. Taking that even further, they've got things called NPCs. Right? These are non-playing characters. And what they are is you're able to actually place an NPC within Minecraft, and then you can actually type up what that character would say. So the character, you can create points where a student has to go and talk to that character. Students can create their own, and they can ask you questions, they can give you instructions. So it's a really great tool that you can actually use within a world. The big part I really enjoy is portfolios. So getting students to actually show their learning. So they have a portfolio within Minecraft as a tool, as a piece of equipment. They can then take photos from that and actually add the photos to the portfolio. And then from there, you can actually export it. So you can actually share their learning. And then to take that further, they've even got a book and a quill. So you can see on this picture here, they've actually can be writing, talking about what you did. So it's a really reflective tools in there as well for students to actually share and talk about what they're actually doing and putting accountability within Minecraft. So your go-to places with Minecraft, there is multitudes and many, many lessons that have been already pre-created, prepared to have a go at, different curriculum areas. There's build challenges to have a start off. So there's two ways you can access it via the web page. If you just search up Minecraft Education Edition, there's a whole web page full of resources that are in there of lessons. But then also in the game itself, there's a game library. And from the game library, you can see on the picture here, there's lessons, monthly build challenges, there's biomes, meaning there's specific worlds that students can start off and create and work with. And then there's also a section on how to play. So students can actually, or yourself, can go into how to play and actually go through a pre-built lesson. And these lessons range from all age groups. So you can see here on the right, there's one lesson from the Minecraft page called Plants versus Gravity. All right, so in here, you can see it's got the age levels, the curriculum areas, it'll have a learning goals, have outcomes as well, has the world all ready to go, to download, to get. So it's a lot of this stuff is pre-prepared. And there's just every week there's more and more being added on and new features on that too. So there's a lot already done there for you. So my biggest sort of point is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to go and create and spend days and days and days creating your own world for students to explore. A lot of that work is done for you Yeah, and you end up finding students will end up creating these worlds for you as well once they get engaged. So I want to share a couple of examples that are on the webpage, and this is one of a recent one done this year. It's called the Mindful Night. And this is an interactive world that is all about practicing mindfulness practices. And it's such an important part with how our world and our year has been turned upside down. And some of the ways they go through a series of quests in this, and one of them is mindful breathing, and they have to count and do mindful breathing to be successful in the activity. And so there's 4 tasks in this, and it's pre-done. Students, you just need to give them the world, and it's got the instructions involved. They go through the quests and learn all about actually being mindful. So it's a really great way to start. This is another great one that I've used in many different types of lessons, is Inspirational Islands. This is a theme park that's been created, and it's in creative mode, so students can add, can change. And this one's based on self-awareness communication, this actually lesson, but I've used it for students for creative writing. Those students, I've had a few students last year and this year who find it really difficult to get ideas for creative writing, and their task was to explore this world and write down some ideas that if they had to write a story, how could they involve this world? What would happen in their story? What do they see? What do they feel? And so you can really use it as an inspiration to some great creative writing sessions within your classroom. So there's many ways you can take these lessons that are there and make them your own. And the third one from the library is the digital citizenship. And this even goes as far as looking at plagiarism. So this is even focusing up in upper primary to secondary, is looking at these areas of digital citizenship, being a responsible internet user. And students go through different tasks and to be successful through this lesson. So it's a lesson kit, has all your teacher's guide, template, everything ready to go in there. So these are a couple of great examples that I've used and found within the Minecraft education area. And then I want to share with you a couple of examples that I've done in the classroom this year. So this is actually what I've done with my students in chemistry, and this is grade 4. So this is where you've got to think about some of these concepts, quite high level thinking, and we're talking chemistry and elements. We're talking protons, electrons, neutrons, and this wouldn't normally be taught in year 4. This is, you're looking more into the high school areas. But I put it to my students asking, well, we know, they knew what H2O was. We talked about H2O as water. And their challenge was to find as many materials within Minecraft that had water in it, right? Or oxygen. So I had to find oxygen. So I said, can you find oxygen in different materials? So they took this material reducer, and you can see on the right here, at a material reducer. So what you do is you go and find your materials, you put them into the material reducer, and it gives you the elements of that material. And if you compare it to real life materials, it is very, very precise. So this could be used in a high school setting, and you can reduce materials down to the elements, but you can also create elements. So if you're looking at how many protons, electrons, neutrons, you're looking at the elements periodic table, you can actually ask students, test it out, get in there, and have a look at the periodic table and see if it works in Minecraft. And I had students explore finding materials. They were amazed that in sandstone there was oxygen, and they were starting to get, I guess, a taste of those scientific and that chemistry thinking within year 4. And I was just amazed, and I've never thought in year 4 I'd be doing something like this. And this is something that Minecraft was able to let me do within my class. This is another example I did this year was with mathematics. So we looked at fractions, and how we did as a class is we took this pre-prepared lesson on decimals and fractions, and we just modified it a bit. We added a bit to it to cater for our class, right? And we did a little bit of a project first. So students had to design their maths garden. And we talked about if the garden equals a whole, What would each block equal as a fraction? What would it be as a percentage? All right, so then they designed on paper their garden first, and you can see in the top right, my garden I did, and students created their own version of that. And throughout the week, we learnt about how fractions and decimals are a relationship. And at the end of the class, they actually designed it in Minecraft. And you can see here they had an example down the bottom. They put their board and they started filling out their understanding. But they wanted to take it further. They wanted to then become farmers. And we started thinking about, could we give them costs for their produce? Could we actually do some more mathematics running as a business? So the students even really started thinking more deeply about this. And the third one I wanted to share with you is the coding aspect. And I do a coding club with my students in my school, but this is something that was pretty straightforward. You don't need as a teacher to have a huge understanding of how the block coding works, because all I did was I took this code. This was already pre-prepared for me within Minecraft. So I shared that with students and I asked them, can you change it? This little code here, all it creates is a wall. And you can see on the right side, a brown wall, really boring. And I said, by this code, if you type in the word wall, this is what it makes. Your challenge is, can you hack it? Can you modify it? How can you change this code? So we all joined one world, and the challenge was to come up with their crazy walls. And this is a photo of what they did. And we had this world where they just started creating their own walls, but they changed the code. What could they do with it? And we had zigzags and lines and these books, and it was just really creative, but they got introduced to coding without actually having to start from scratch. They got to actually just have a play and a modify with coding. And that was something we started. And it was amazing. This world was wacky, full of different walls, but the kids really got it. And it wasn't about ability because we already had the code ready for them. So you're probably asking, I want to have a go, but where do I start with my class? How do I set this up? So I always suggest you start with exploring with your class. Their task it would be is, what can you do in Minecraft? Get them to find out. Ask your students, what can you do? All right, get them explore, get them finding things, get them working out what elements and what parts and what materials are there. There's animals and how things work. All right, and then ask them, can they record one thing they learned from it? And from that, you'll find your experts. All right, that's the best way I found is I got them to explore and I watched. And every year I find a couple of students usually in my class who are the students who know more than me. And they're my experts and they're my go-to students. They're the helpers. And set them a simple task. But once we've done that, we started then creating our norms and values after. Right, because they had that explore and those teaching moments. So we then create our norms and values within our class. Right? What's the difference between online and offline? Right? If you destroyed someone's building, is it the same as if you're destroying someone's project in the classroom? So we made those connections to our classrooms. And then I asked the students, how can we use this for our learning? If we're using this for learning, what can we do with it? So it's all about the student voice and agency, going back to that as well. And the next bit is, if you want to learn more and you're thinking, well, I need to get my head around this before having a go, there is a huge amount of courses within the Microsoft Educator, the MEC Centre. So I went into the MEC and typed in Minecraft, and there is many, many courses here you can see. They're quick. They're really interactive, right? And it's all about different areas of Minecraft. And then from it, you can even collect your points and badges to become an MIE as well within the program. So this is a really great go-to place, and it's great PD, but it's not stress. It's not lots of reading. It's all about watching, interactive. It's great ways they've actually shared some of these ways to do it. So that is it for me. And my 2 points is have a go at these equipments and tools. They're amazing things to use in your classroom. Don't forget, join the Microsoft Educator Centre. That's where I started with all this. That was the very first thing I started and learning about. And that got me really just started with all these Microsoft products and tools and where I am now. And there's a feedback form. So please, if you have time, would love to get some feedback from today in these sessions. And so that's up there on the screen. And anytime, reach out to me. I'm on Twitter at @DJonesEducator, and I'd love to hear from you, what you're doing in your classroom. If you've had a go, it would be great to hear some inspirational from having a go at these great tools. Coming back to question and answers.
Anyone got any questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. I think we've been responding to the questions as we go. There's some great blog posts there from the work that David and others have been doing in Victoria in the Department of Education, and I've put in some links to the training materials as well. Great. So if there's any final questions, pop them in the chat. Otherwise, we will wrap up.
Yes, and yeah, I was going to say, make sure you head to our end of day call as well. It's looking like a good reflection at the end of the day too, Travis.
No, we've decided to cancel that one, so that's okay. It's not happening. We'll send you an email to all of the attendees afterwards saying that we're going to get the feedback form link in there and access to all the recordings and everything else. So no need to join any more calls. This is the final one for the day.
Great. So, well, hopefully you've been inspired to have a go at these products, and it's onwards and upwards. Once you actually get into your classroom, have a go, it's really inspiring to see your students' voices and give them that agency and control of their learning. So it's such a dear to my heart, and just because I've seen the students use these tools and the amount of growth I've seen of student voice.
Thanks very much, David, and thanks everyone for attending. We'll see you next time.
Great, thank you.